Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's better on draft.
And we are live. This is the Michigan Series, episode number 2, recorded December 18th, 2020. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been quite the week. We did a promotional advertisement with the McRib. The McRib is back, and I hope you guys got a chance to go get it. Thank you very much to our who we worked with for brewery-wise. That is Griffin Claw. Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. You can go check out our little 1 minute and 30-second spot on Instagram TV and Instagram. Trust me, it looks like a middle schooler did the video editing. That's because all the knowledge I learned for video editing was in middle and high school, and that was one semester, so you got about one semester's worth of quality. But my name is Ken. I am drinking an El Rojo, compliments of Griffin Claw. I am going to introduce one of our co-hosts. Daniel, how you doing? You're muted.
Hey, what's going on?
We've only been doing this for 9 months now.
Yeah, that was my fault. Sorry about that.
What are you drinking over there?
I'm actually working on a dragon's milk. Nice to drink a beer-flavored beer for once.
So this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go through the rest of the hosts real quick just to see what everyone's drinking. Then we'll bring in our guest. Robert, what's going on?
Hey. I am drinking myself a No Rules with Great Lakes coffee. So in the No Rules glass, of course.
In the No Rules glass. Perfect. Wendy, what's going on? What are you drinking?
I am drinking the malted milk bowl, which is one of my favorites.
And Nicholas.
Yo, what's going on?
What are you drinking?
Doing what I always do is every Friday. I got as part of my advent calendar, the German beer Blauweiss in the Better on Draft glass. And I think this is hazelnuts from Odd Side. I think it sure tastes like it. So we're going to roll with that.
Going a little hot. I, too, also have a second El Rojo right here ready to go. Now, our guests, the first I'm going to bring up, you may recognize him from his time on this show before with a different brewery, Eric Plata. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
We appreciate you coming on back. Why don't you tell us what you've been up to during 2020?
2020 has been it's been a weird year, as everyone knows, but making some moves and getting associated with a fantastic brewery that is Perrin. Now I'm head brewing there and get to work with a lot of great people, and I'm super excited about it. So.
Now, for a brewery that has both production and a tap house, so you have to worry about both in-house as well as what you're sending out, you said you're head brewing. What are you managing? What are you brewing? Are you brewing the small batches that are going local, or the big batches that we're drinking when we go to the store like Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills and picking up a 99 problems or 98 problems?
Yeah, a little bit of all of that. My job is basically to remain that quality of Perrin. So I'm taking all of the knowledge that I basically have had and fitting in with Perrin and maintaining that quality. So it seems to be a great fit for me, at least. I love it there. It's been awesome. But yeah, all those beers that we produce are coming from our hot side team that we manage collectively, and new brands like the Midnight Snack and a lot of the side hustle brands, they're all coming from a little bit of hands that they're touched by a little bit of everybody. So.
And what are you drinking right now?
I'm currently drinking a Midnight Snack. This is our latest side hustle. This is a robust porter base with some mint chocolate in it.
All right, and on the screen as well, you're going to see another guest. He was on our live show at Perrin's No Rules Day back in 2019. Connor, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Your position's changed a little bit too. What are you doing over at Perrin these days?
I'm the director of brewery operations, so I'm kind of overseeing everything that happens in our four walls.
And in the words of Office Space, what would you say you do there?
My main thing is making sure that production's going in every aspect of it, from hot side to packaging, along with overseeing the tap room and our marketing department as well.
Awesome. Well, I am going to pass it over to Robert because I know Rob's got a question for one of you. Rob, you're muted too. That's two
I-
out of the 4 or 5 of us.
I was getting ready to say that, and I'm going to take off the mute, but now the mute is off. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one because obviously you guys right now are in the middle of your second interactive brew, which that obviously a program where the public gets to vote on a beer by style, adjuncts, and then get the, you go through naming of it. The first of which that came out last year was a Russian Imperial Stout that was called Samorantine. Hope I got that right. The second, which was, it looks like it was just brewed just over 2 weeks ago, another stout using chocolate, caramel, and coconut. So I was wondering if you could talk to us about why you guys started doing the interactive brew series and this newest brew that is going to be released hopefully soon.
Yeah, for sure. Well, from the start, from the first lockdown, we were kind of really trying to figure out what we could do at the brewery to engage people at home. Our one thing that we really, really enjoy about having a tap room connected to the brewery is that we get feedback all the time. We can go up there and talk to people. We talk to our pub club all the time to kind of get their feedback on new beers. And we were lacking that. We really enjoy having conversations with people when they come in and drink some of our beer, but we couldn't get that. And you can only do so much, looking at Untapped or something like that. So tried to brainstorm how we could engage people at home. And, when we started, there wasn't an end date for the first lockdown. So said, hell with it. We got 5 weeks. Let's let people vote on the next beer that we want. It's fun for us because we typically make the beer that we want to make, but this was kind of something where we didn't know what was going to be picked. So it was very exciting. And all of the brewers and pub employees were all voting right along with it because we wanted certain styles too. I know every time I vote, it hasn't been picked. So it's been fun to see what everyone else wants.
Well, I do know the head brewer over at Perrin. Maybe some of those ideas I can get to him for you. Sorry, keep going, Rob.
All right, so actually I kind of had a follow-up to that because with the first interactive brew that I believe the recipe was posted out onto the website for everybody, for home brewers to be able to try it. And I guess I was curious if that was going to happen for this one as well, because I hadn't seen it if it was posted out there or not. But I guess talk to us about kind of any of the feedback that maybe you've gotten from those who have tried to brew it themselves, and have they come close? Have they felt like they've made it better? What have you heard?
Go for it, Connor. Okay, I'll go for it. we definitely put the interactive 2.0 out there for people to brew alongside with us. I have not heard any feedback from people brewing that along with us, but if you're out there and you've brewed it, man, we'd love to hear some feedback, and we'd love to try it even. Let us know.
Yeah, and on the first one, we did have about 5 people reach out to us and tell us that they were going to do it. Not one of them came back saying that they had the finished product similar to what we came out with. So anxious to hopefully hear someone from 2.0 getting through it and being happy with their own end result.
See, and I would think that, there's a lot of, brew stores that sell products to make clones of products like, Russian Rivers, Pliny the Elder, and such forth. And I think to get the recipe directly from a brewer such as you guys, that I kind of felt like that would give them just that more incentive, like, holy shit, here's this brewery that's out here that makes this great stuff, and they're giving us a recipe to make one of their beers. And I would really love that. I guess I want to see more of those and see more home brewers to actually take those recipes and make those out.
Absolutely. And it was fun. It was fun for me at designing this recipe and then literally scaling out percentages for grain, IBU usage. Literally everything that we gave in a homebrew standpoint is exactly what we did on our system too. So I mean, it's as true as it possibly can be. So that recipe is coming directly from us. So that's what makes it really cool to be a part of.
Now, one of the recipes that I know you guys don't give out would be, of course, No Rules, which is, your big release beer that happens roughly every April. And for a few years now, well, this past year and probably I'm guessing this year with how things are going, that we're going to miss that release party again. And especially the camaraderie of all of the beer drinkers and that beat up car that was on fire that everybody beats up with a sledgehammer that sits in the back there, that and beating Ken in giant Jenga, because I would love to do that again. But are there any special plans that you can release to talk about what you guys are going to do for next year's No Rules release?
Well, we're really trying to brainstorm right now. And it all kind of depends on what goes on with COVID-19 and the vaccines and everything like that. April 24th is the scheduled day if we can have one. That's pretty much all I can give right now because that's really all we know. We're going to be playing it by ear and doing what we can because we really miss having parties outside of No Rules. We have our anniversary party, our ice jam. We did a pre-beer fest, so we really, really miss having people out in the backyard drinking some beer and chatting around a fire.
And smoking cigars. I cannot forget about those cigars. So the cigars were pretty damn good too. Now, back in October, Perrin did celebrate their 8-year anniversary. Obviously not the way that you truly wanted to, but obviously being a brewery and getting through this year, pushing into year 9 I would imagine, has been certainly a worthy task. So I guess tell us what it means to be a year closer to that decade club, because there's, I don't tend to hear a lot of breweries make it to year 10. And so to see you guys really just pushing forward and mass producing your beer, your seltzers, all of your products that have carried you and have made you a Michigan brand that everybody wants to go for. But what is year 9 going to look like for you?
Year 9 is going to be different. Year 9 might be a lot like year 8, depending on what's going on. But we're going to be trying to innovate. We're going to be coming out with a couple new IPAs, double IPA for one that we'll be calling Double Pay, and 5910, which will be more of a West Coast style IPA, and kind of getting back to those roots as we just came out with our Call Me Hazy line this year. So continuing to innovate, excited that Eric's on board now. So especially in the pub, we'll be kicking out a lot more lagers than we have in the past. I'm really excited to get into that a little bit more because I like drinking lagers. So, but overall, year 9 could be really, really exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. And then back in, I think it was around 2016 that Perrin had started distributing to Colorado, which I think was the first state outside of Michigan that was starting to get Perrin beer. Obviously, Florida and Chicago were added the year afterwards. But I guess being a part of the Canarchy umbrella has definitely increased your footprint. I'm curious if there's any other places within that network that you may want to try to hit in this upcoming future. I mean, if it's even possible, considering obviously we're going through all of this and we don't know where everything's going, but where do you want to go?
Well, we've actually pulled back. So we're back to Michigan only now. Mm-hmm. With being partners with everyone else, we consolidated our sales team. So kind of had people focusing on the home markets for where they were. And it kind of made sense for Perrin to focus back in on Michigan. We felt like there was some room here that we could still grow before trying to venture back out. So we're still kind of just looking at Michigan only right now, getting into our Michigan roots. We have a craftsmanship series that we're coming out with, partnering with local artists. So kind of just diving into our local consumers and, be good to the people who support you.
Cool. All right, I think I'm going to pass it over to Nick. So I think Nick's got a couple.
So it's one thing that really caught. I want to piggyback off of Rob for a second. What really caught my attention is that you said that there was still room to grow within the state of Michigan, and I don't think we ever hear many brewers, salespeople talk about, oh, there's still room for opportunity for growth inside the state that you brew. How has that decision scaling out of Colorado and just refocusing your efforts on Michigan, how has that worked out for you guys? Basically, let's just call it the last 9 months since the pandemic really started. How's that worked out for you guys?
Well, it's been pretty good because as far as scaling back, I mean, the one thing that people aren't really talking about right now is how much it costs to ship anything. The freight, especially with vaccines getting shipped out, refrigerated trucks are extremely rare and extremely expensive. So it really helps that in the state of Michigan, we have our wholesaler network that is willing and able to come to the brewery to pick up. So it really helps us because then we can supply our products to Michigan without having to worry about other states. And just in general, I've always kind of thought you got to have deep roots. And I felt like our roots could go deeper when, you can have your limbs and your leaves reach out as far as you want, but if you have weak roots, that tree's going down.
Sure.
So kind of focusing in on that.
Okay, now that all very, very valid point. Being that we've been to the brewery for No Rules Day, and now in the height of the pandemic, you guys have had to change things, and how you guys have done business and how you guys bring people. I'm assuming you guys are having some sort of up until a couple of weeks ago, some sort of traffic coming to the brewery. What kind of things have you guys have done, to kind of bring out the innovation of what's happening at the brewery itself? We see a lot of these igloos with restaurants popping up. There's a couple breweries that do the tent thing, the canopy. They build a canopy in the parking lot. What has Perrin done to kind of fight the fight and keep business as strong as possible throughout these last 9 months?
We do have igloos. I'll say that right now. We had 2 igloos from last year, so they're back up now.
Okay.
But we're trying to really engage. And Eric, I don't know if you want to talk about, but the test batch series that we've been doing has been huge for us.
Yeah, test batch series. We've been putting on new IPAs, new experimental brands that we're trying to just find out what the public really is interested in drinking. It's a great way for us to kind of plug into our local drinking community and then play off that. And again, gives us a lot of time and a space to play with recipes and experimental hops. So yeah, that whole experimental IPA series that we've been doing, we put on recently IPA test batch number 6, which is could potentially be a new flagship for us, IPA, which is playing with a lot of really interesting hops going on. That one has sultanas, which is formerly known as Denali hops, which has a lot of orange aromatics and flavors, citrus flavors to it. We recently put on a 666 that was an IPA experimental for us as well, that we're hoping that will lead into a bigger kind of alcohol double IPA. But going back to what you were saying, Nick, asking about how we're kind of playing in this whole pandemic situation and being shut down with the igloos, we kind of rolled out the 12 days of Perrin deals in the pub. So every day from December 12th all the way to the 23rd, we have daily deals to try to pull people in and connect with the community. And that's everywhere, everything from discounted vault beers from our library, also to discounted food menu, a little bit of everything. So we're trying to stay as plugged into the community as we possibly can to bring more people in, as well as having a finger to the pulse with new beers as well.
So you talked about engaging your customers, albeit they're your regulars, or even some of the clowns like us on Better on Draft coming out to the West Side and coming to visit. What kind of are you guys seeing like a trend amongst your customers about what kind of is there like a certain thing that they're saying when they come to your establishment? Like, what are they seeing? Are they asking, they like want to see something like something different, or something new, or what kind of things have you learned over these last 9 months as you trying to muddy through these waters that we're currently living in?
Well, I think it's been fun to kind of dive in and drill home our barrel program, even with the release of malted and reserve, and even no rules in April. We lean into our barrel program, and a lot of people show support for those brands, and it's been phenomenal to be a part of. As far as newer brands and experimenting, I mean, people still show up for those classic our barrel program, which has been great to see, because that they are really they take a lot of time and a lot of hard work and curating from everyone in the brewery. So when we get a lot of draw for those and support for those brands, it's been pretty amazing.
It's
All right,
always, I'm actually, I'm now Dan's gonna, take over, because I was just about to pass it over to him. Dan, you want to take it from there?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, Eric, this question is more directed towards you. We're kind of curious about the lager program you're trying to get started there. Do you think a lot of breweries don't make enough lagers in general? And also, this one, at least someone on our staff here is going to be pretty interested in this. When are you going to make your first alt beer, since you're getting more into the lager side?
It's a Ken thing, isn't it?
It's definitely a Ken thing.
I would like to announce that I did not ask this question, and I actually had no intention of asking it.
BS, Ken. We all know you asked it.
I got definitely told by another brewer that alt beers are a ale, but they are created like a lager.
Yes.
So I've learned that. I've been told that. I've been yelled at by that. So I'll make sure I have learned. Yeah. So y'all know. Continue.
I think it was the last time that I was there, repping the last brewery. I think you chewed me out for not having an alt beer, but whatever. Yeah,
I don't know if I chewed you out. I probably was just like, so come on.
Yeah. As far as at Perrin, man, we're getting it going. We're rock and rolling. We're looking towards that direction, I feel like. Can we talk about Side Hustle series? Okay, great. So we have an IPL coming out for our next Side Hustle series. So it's going to be a really fun kind of blend between two styles, a little bit of familiarity with IPAs, but still treated like lagers. So lager yeast, Bavarian yeast, hopped up at the rate of lagers with some really interesting hops. So that one's using a little bit of Saphir hops, which are a cousin, close relative to Hallertau Mittelfrüh out in Bavaria. And so we are looking to keep some stuff going. We're taking some of that yeast, and we will be doing a Pilsner. So that'll be fun to see a Perrin Pils. And then we'll see how those brands treat us and take it one day at a time. I think that's kind of the thing with lagers. I think one, you can't rush them. I think two, it's all about recipe design and water chem. And then three, ultimately what the market dictates. If people like it, then we will stick to it. And hopefully they do, because I think we could potentially be making some of the better lagers in the West Michigan area. So,
because I kind of think that with a lot of the and I'm not necessarily plugging Tavor, but I'm just going to bring up Tavor, that they have definitely been posting a lot of beers that are of the lager and Pils variety. So there's definitely, at least from what I'm seeing, that there's definitely a bigger popularity that is coming back, so to speak, for those. And I guess one thing that I'm hoping for is that, much like Wolverine State and how they make a whole bunch of lagers, that I would love to see a barrel-aged lager, especially apparently Mexican hot chocolate, which I'm just going to ask for that right now. So Eric, get on that.
Well, Massacre is probably one of the really few barrel-aged lagers that I can think of out of which has had Wolverine State. How is it hard to make a because obviously you're taking a long time with the barrel aging process in the first place. Is there an issue with why people don't make necessarily a lot of barrel-aged lagers?
I would say, the biggest hurdle is just time. I think if you really want to make a true lager and make it, a good lager. It's just time. And if you're gonna let it sleep in barrels, there's a lot of time in between contact time with barrels. That the beer spends a lot of time in stainless, and that seems to tie up a lot of breweries. So I know you mentioned Wolverine State. They do it right. They lager correctly, and then they throw it into barrels, and that's why that beer is so great. If you guys know, I'm from Chicago. I've talked to all of y'all about it before, but in Chicago, there's a handful of breweries out there that really focus on lagers and barrel aged lagers. There's a couple of places like Metropolitan Brewing out in Chicago. They do a barrel aged Doppelbock, and that beer takes like a year and a half to produce. And I think a lot of smaller breweries, they run into issues in terms of, it costs money to tie up tanks. It costs money to tie up barrels. Square footage of just lagering and barrel aging in itself could be expensive. So I think that's the biggest issue with a lot of it. You could put, beer into barrels and, stouts and different types of ales, but you don't tie up stainless as much. And I think that's the biggest issue.
Kind of funny you brought it up, because I think today or yesterday, I literally talked to Eric about, we used to do a barrel-aged lager. It was called Black
Right.
Goat, barrel-aged double black lager. And I was like, maybe we should bring it back, or maybe we should look at something similar to it. But yeah, it's kind of funny that we literally just talked about this within the last 24 hours.
I think there's the market, is lacking in that. I think barrel-aged lagers are, just genuine lagers in general could, I think the market is kind of lagging. And not to say that there aren't any great breweries doing it. There's a lot of fine breweries producing fantastic lagers. But yeah, the market is kind of up for grabs right now with lagers.
I know we think a lot when we hear lagers, clean, clear, crisp. We don't necessarily go with all the other lager styles. But you guys at Perrin were ahead of the times, I believe, when you guys were launching Clear Coast. You guys had seltzers before everyone else had seltzers. But at that time, a lot of people prior to the Seltzer Boom and everyone like me becoming like White Claw, White Girl crazy. Do you think the boom of seltzers hindered the boom that we kind of all predicted of clean, crisp pills, Kolsch's, and lagers coming into the fold? Because I think everyone was starting to lean towards easier to drink, lower calorie, lower ABV drinks, but then seltzers hit, and they're like, oh, well, this is everything we want in one clear, vague. Wendy's shaking her head no. One vaguely flavored drink.
I mean, I personally don't. I think lagers are. I mean, it's still beer. They're no means low cal or gluten reduced or low carb. I think in terms of easy drinking, potentially, but I don't think seltzers undercut that demographic by any means.
I'm the opposite. I think it has. Yeah, I definitely think seltzers have taken over for a lot of the lager share. We've seen seltzers and, just the data that's come out are taking up share from everybody. So if you had someone who's looking to drink a lower calorie, lower carb session drink, I definitely think some of it's come from seltzer.
Yeah,
I still
absolutely.
think it's a fad. See, I know that it's going
The
to stay around
seltzers
for
or
a
the
long time.
lagers?
Seltzers. I still think it's a fad, but I remember back in the 80s when everybody was drinking wine coolers? Nobody's doing that
Zimas.
now.
Yeah, remember back in the 90s when everybody was drinking Zimas?
Right.
So fun fact,
And
when
it
Zima
basically
came
a
back,
seltzer's a Zima.
when Zima came back, when they finally cut it, they sent all the leftovers to Arizona. It sold out in like a week. People are crazy about that. I don't know if it's a fad. If they brought that back out, people would be buying it.
If it's a fat, I'm just happy that glitter beer is gone for the most part.
Oh.
I'm a face painter, and I agree with that. So, talking about lagers, what is it that is your guys' favorite style of beer to either make or drink, or both?
You can go ahead, Connor.
All right. As far as beer to make and drink, big and dark is my favorite. So the fact that Interactive Brew's been 2 stouts I've been pretty happy with. I drink anything dark. Perrin Black's the reason I wanted to work at Perrin, is because I drank black by my outside of work all the time. One of my non-Michigan favorite beers to drink is Wee Mac from Sun King. I love that beer. So yeah, big and dark is what I like to make, because it just makes the entire brewery smell amazing, and I like to drink them in the end. So I got something to look forward to.
Yeah, I really enjoy making. I mean, I love making lagers because of intricacies in fermentation. But if I had to pick like a ale style, for sure it'd be like Russian Imperial Stout. They're so much fun to make, just because the amount of highly kiln malt, to notes of chocolate, to coffee, and then the adjuncts that are so easily played with all of those notes. It's just fun. It's just fun. But I mean, in terms of what I like to drink, I think I could drink a Czech Pils every day of the year, at any time of the year. I love Czech Pils. I really do like even Bohemian style Pils are fun. I just like Pilsners. So.
And we're gonna kind of, I want to say we're wrapping up. We got, about 7 to 8 more minutes, so it takes us a little bit of time to kind of say our not necessarily our goodbyes, but ask our final question. But I'll kind of kick it off, because I have the question regarding the adjuncts. You mentioned the adjuncts. I feel like it's gotten a little too far. I think adjuncts have gone. I appreciate 1 to 2 flavors, but it feels like whenever I'm reading a bottle, I have to like read an entire story of all the adjuncts in there, because it's a marshmallow, peanut butter, chocolate, honey, double, Russian Imperial, barrel aged in 3 different. Like I feel like I get bored after a while of reading all. Like, what do you guys feel? Because you mentioned, Eric, that you love the adjuncts and the things you can play with, but do you think it's kind of gone a little too far?
Yeah, I'm a little bit torn on that. I mean, in a sense, yes. I think sometimes it could become a little bit convoluted. I think as long as you stay true to a style of beer, but then the old guy in me is just like, don't put this and that into this. Why would you do that? But if, people enjoy that experimental side of brewing, and I think at some point you just really have to acknowledge it, whether or not you lean into it. But the drinkers dictate where our market's headed, and if we're doing milkshake seltzers and things of like that, then that's where the market's headed.
Please no.
That is not something we have made before.
No.
I mean, look at Holmes and their Smooge brand. I mean, it's
just gonna say
going off.
Wendy, what's the final question you got for this pair?
Oh goodness. So my No Rules is hands down one of my favorite beers. I was one of the people who actually placed 3 orders this year, because as I was ordering, people were texting me, and I was like, oh crap, I didn't buy enough. So I guess my question is, what would you tell people who love No Rules but haven't really ventured into other Perrin beers? What would you tell them they need to try?
I'm going to hand that off to Eric, because I want to see his answer.
Oh boy.
No, he's new, so he's got a fresh perspective on what beers people should try.
You know what? I think a lot of our beers are just fantastic in terms of quality. Going off into our seasonals, I think what we have going in terms of Call Me Hazy Citrus, if you've never given that a chance, give it a chance. It's really, truly phenomenal. That one's using a little bit of Galaxy hop, a little bit of Mosaic, citrus, all the buzzwords you want to hear, and still has the true Northeastern style mouthfeel, hop bitterness, everything like that. If you're not a big fan of that style, I mean, Black is really a fantastic beer as well. Gold is a fantastic beer. I think we offer everything from entry-level beers to your most intricate level drinker or intermediate drinker to your advanced drinker. I think we have everything from fine intricacies with barrel age projects down to our golden ale. I think there's a little bit of little nuggets of technical quality that goes through every one of our beers. And that's the fun part at working at Perrin now, because we have a lot of tools at our fingertips, a lot of knowledge within our entire production center, where we can all bang out ideas and make the best quality product beer.
Solid answer.
Nicholas.
All right. You have a beer in your fridge. It can't be a Perrin beer. It's your go-to right now. What is it right now?
It's going to be towards both of you.
Yep.
Trying to think. I haven't bought a lot of beer since we've been in lockdown.
Well, that makes only one of you.
Yeah. No, jeez. I think I have I still have like a case of Shadowbox Schwarzbier from De Hops that I'm drink every once in a while.
I was waiting for you to say old style.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on that. I can't find it anywhere around here.
I got it somewhere. There it is, right there on my.
I know of a place out on our side of town that has it.
Oh, they shouldn't. That's for sure.
I remember seeing it. And I'll have to tell you offline.
So Eric says De Hops from the Schwarzbier. Connor.
I'd go Robert the Bruce from Three Floyds.
Nice.
I'd try and swing by and get a case every time I'm in Chicago. So I usually have that in my fridge at some point.
Dan, last question for the gentleman.
Yeah, so I'm looking at your portfolio because I'm not going to lie, outside of Little Grizz and No Rules, I don't know a lot about your beer. What's up with this carrot cake beer? And are we going to see other vegetables? Like, are we going to see a lettuce beer? Are we going to see a, I don't know, any kind of bedroot vegetable beer? What's going on here?
Carrot cake was our first side hustle beer. So that came out. That was the only side hustle we've done twice too, because it was the first one and it didn't get a proper go. But it was just one of those, dessert beers, pastry stouts people want. We were messing around. There's apparently in February, it's National Carrot Cake Day. So we had made some just to have in the pub, just to see if we could do it. And our sales team got wind of it, wanted some for the market. So we ended up canning some, and it went over really well. That beer's great. I've never had carrot cake before. I had the beer, and then I went and bought a carrot cake, and it was spot on. It was good.
I get asked if that's ever coming back all the time. I don't know. I had it, I think twice, and it was fantastic. But I get asked all the time if it's coming back.
See, and I will, unfortunately, I will not buy it just simply because I make a carrot cake, which is my grandma's recipe. It's about 40 years old. If it doesn't taste like her carrot cake, then it's not there.
I feel like you need to go to the Perrin kitchen and make a bunch of the carrot cakes over there, and now you can make the right? Grandma Robert is it Grandma Everett? Grandma Everett's carrot cake.
Be Grandma Walker.
Grandma Walker. There we go. Yep. Robert, you're the last one. Let's close this with a bang.
All right, making this pretty quick. Bourbon, or not bourbon barrels, but barrels in general. Bourbon notwithstanding, we'll take bourbon out. What type of barrel would you prefer to work with? Rum, tequila, or other?
Rum. I love rum. I'll drink rum by itself all the time. So I'm going rum all the way.
I'd go wine barrel. I like wine barrels.
Wine barrels.
There you
Cabs.
go. Well,
red wine barrel sours.
Connor, for you, just a little tidbit. When you are on the east side of the state, go check out Lost River, which is in Detroit, Michigan, and it's an amazing rum bar. And when I say amazing, it's probably the best rum bar in the state. And I will stamp that because a lot of people have mentioned it. If you're looking for some good rum or good rum ideas, our webmaster Bill is a professional rum taster and judge. So if you're looking for some solid rum choices, hit us up on our email and we'll definitely get you and Bill connected. Guys, that's going to do it. Michigan Series episode number 2. Perrin, thank you so much for joining us. Go check out our sponsors, Zatuna Liquor in Rochester Hills and North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan. Perrin's friends out in Comstock. Go say hi to them. Grab some beer. You can find their beers in the shelves if you're in Michigan. If you're not, come on over to Michigan. Drive. Make sure you wear a mask. Be safe. And that's going to do it. Go check us out. Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Better on Draft. You can find all the beers we drank on Untapped, which is BOD Podcast. And, of course, betterondraft.com and our website, betterondraft.tv, which we're live 7 p.m. Eastern. Got all that done. No matter what you think of beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Peace.